Welcome to the world's worst podcast. I'm Ben. That laughing Hulk is Devin. We tried something a little different this week. We just sort of sat down and started talking. So a bit less structured, but we're also avoiding the trap of just talking about topics in the news and getting into some deeper philosophical stuff. Anything you want to add to that?
We're not so much on as just kind of rambling.
I don't know about you. I was on, so.
Right on. You're always on, BB.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But we got intro music is my pick this week. As we record this, I actually haven't selected it yet, so hopefully it's wonderful. But all of the important information there is in the description of the video. Take a listen. It's some good stuff, I'm sure. And welcome.
Have a good day.
Okay.
Sweet.
But yeah,
how's classes going, man?
I've only had one class so far because they do a weird half week at the beginning. But the thing is, so it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are the class days. But because of Labor Day, missing out Monday classes, the Wednesday of this past week was Monday classes. So I had my Monday class on Wednesday, but because of Labor Day, I don't have that class again for another week.
Why wouldn't they just skip it?
So, well, because then you get this imbalance in the number of class days for so Monday classes would lose out on a class day. Like, it makes sense, but it just results for me personally in this weird situation since my classes are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I've only had one class, which was my Monday class, which I don't have again for essentially 2 weeks in between classes.
Man, that sucks.
And all I have to do is read 2 chapters in the book that are the introductory chapters, one of which I already read because I was trying to get ahead of the game. But I mean, I'm okay with that because, I'm one of the things I was kind of concerned about is going back to grad school after a couple years off was just getting myself back into the academic mindset. Yeah. So I feel really good, having seen, I saw the syllabus for that course, and then my other, one of my other professors for my Wednesday class put out her syllabus, so I know what 2 of my classes are pretty much like, and it's basically what I expected. So I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Well, that's good at least.
Yeah, and I'm the next thing now is over the next sort of couple weeks in September, getting used to my class and work schedule, and then hopefully, assuming that all goes well, I would try to join the research team of the professor who I'm most interested in working with in computer-mediated communication.
Oh, okay.
So that should be fun, but we'll see how that goes. I don't know.
Right on.
And then right now, I don't know what happened, it sort of developed overnight. I woke up and I couldn't, I could only sleep on one side because if I try to tilt my head to the right, it hurts. And
your neck, yeah.
Yeah, my neck to explain. And so I had to sleep on my right side so that I was propping my head up from that sid.
Yeah.
Because if I go past 0 to the right, 0 degrees to the right, or whatever degree mark you want to use, then it hurts.
Do you have any ibuprofen?
Yes, I do, thankfully.
Right on.
I bought some last week.
Do you have any adverse reactions to ibuprofen, such as acid tummy?
No, I've never had any issues with ibuprofen or acetaminophen, so.
I would suggest then taking 800 milligrams of the ibuprofen and then kind of rubbing it out if you could, but take it with food would be my suggestion.
Okay. So far I've just taken I took a couple last night, the standard dosage, and then a couple just now. But yeah, and I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and run to the store today and see if I can pick up some kind of massaging tool of some kind.
Yeah, because if you don't have any kind of adverse effect from it and you're taking it with food, the absolute highest dose you can take via prescription is 3,600. I've never taken 3,600 before because 800 times 3, no, yeah, 800 times 3 makes me kind of dizzy.
Right.
But that's the highest dosage I take. But that's only if something's really gone bad.
Okay.
So I would suggest taking 800 a couple times and kind of moving.
See
your
how
head
that
around,
goes.
seeing- yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into it. I mean, like, I hope I don't have to do much in that regard, but yeah, I might as well. I kind of need to be ready. I mean, I don't know. I've never had something quite like this before, but like I think I kind of know where it's sore, and so I'm trying to rub on it and.
Word, like muscle spasms
it.
are not, like, they sound really silly, but they really can be debilitating. I had a muscle spasm the other day, and because of my weight, I couldn't get on hands and knees. I couldn't get up out of my bed actually for 4 hours.
Oh yeah.
It took me 5 hours to be able to get up enough to go pee, and then sit on my couch until the ibuprofen kicked in. So it's pretty serious issue.
Yeah, that's rough. I hope I don't have anything like that, but
Word, dude. Like, I was 150 pounds lighter, and the first time I had that kind of muscle spasm, I actually called an ambulance. I tried to get up and peed myself, and ended up having an ambulance taking me to the hospital just to give me morphine. And clearly, it's not that big of an issue if you have help or your bed's off the floor. But if your bed's off the floor and you can't get to the toilet, it's a substantial issue.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky in that regard because for the first time in years, I actually have a bed frame that is keeping my bed off the floor that came with the apartment. So.
Oh, good deal, man. Good deal.
I've actually, and I'm really surprised. The bed with I got a. So the last bed that I had was this POS bed that I bought because my previous mattress broke. It did not survive the move very well the last time. And so I just, I did not have a lot of money, and I just needed a bed. So I bought a, fairly cheap mattress that I could find, kept the old box spring, and that thing was uncomfortable. So I bought, a memory foam. My Christmas bonus that year for work bought me a half-decent memory foam mattress pad.
Yeah, wait,
which
was this
right.
at your apartment?
Yeah.
I remember, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. And so but crazily enough, the combination of that mattress pad here with the mattress they provide and everything is super comfortable. This is the best bed sort of situation I've been in a while.
I can't understand how you can handle soft bed things. My ex had a super soft mattress.
Yeah.
Plus all this kind of things to make it super soft, and it just hurt my back so much. I need just firm enough that it supports me, but softer than the floor.
Right.
I need a super hard mattress.
Yeah. Well, I mean, different people need different mattresses. Yeah, I like the soft. I like to sink into the bed and feel cuddled by it, I guess.
Word. No, I totally understand, man. That shit's crazy. I just can't imagine being one of those people. Not that's wrong or something. I just can't imagine being one of those people.
It's okay, Devin. You can say you hate me. It's okay. I understand.
Word, you people are so weak.
Soft bed, weak heart.
Yeah, you know me. I'm all about the toughness.
Well, you make up for it with the bed,
Yeah. Well, I'm just happy you're getting sleep. Is all.
We'll see. Well, we'll see how tonight goes. I'll see what I can do about my neck, but that was kind of frustrating last night.
So I have a question for you. So I don't understand. I don't understand the concept of privacy. So like,
Right.
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like, hey, like you should give out your pedigree information, like your social security number and your bank PIN and all that information.
Yeah.
And of course, clearly, if you are like a victim of abuse of any sort, I don't advocate just giving that information out. So don't get me wrong. Like, I just don't understand the concept of privacy because, like, so I was a promiscuous kid when I was younger and in shape, and still until I was like 18, 19, I was like ashamed of masturbating, which is weird.
Okay.
And like my dad, for whatever reason, would make fun of me and whatever, and people would make fun of me for that. And then I suddenly realized what it would take not to be super private, and just told everything to everyone. Not saying that's the correct issue. My point is that I don't understand what the concept of that privacy line is. You know what I mean? Like, because so many people have different versions. Different points where they have that privacy line, and everything beyond that point, if it's suddenly pointed at, is something they feel shameful about. You know what I mean? Like, they feel put on the spot, even if that thing beyond that privacy point isn't something to be ashamed about. I don't understand why someone would have that thing.
It when you say, well, they shouldn't be ashamed of it, I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I think that's missing the point. Because it's one of those psychological things. You have to treat it the way the person sees it. You have to understand that for some people, certain things for them are shameful due to, any number of factors. And yeah, there's an extent to which it's good to try and sort of break people out of those shells and allow them to feel that they don't have to be ashamed of the things they like.
Yeah, let me interrupt you real quick here. I'm super sorry. No, I mean to say that people put things... They put something behind that line, and because it's behind that line, they have shame. Not because that thing is a shameful thing or embarrassing or whatever, but solely by the fact that they've put it behind that line becomes something that they're embarrassed about, is what I mean to say.
Well, but I think it's a chicken and the egg thing. Like, I don't think you can say necessarily that people consciously put things into the private category and therefore think it's shameful. There's nothing necessarily about that relationship that means it can't go. It's not the other way, that the shameful things get put in that private label. So I think that's just a misconception on your part, is that it can, and I guess I can't say necessarily that it's shameful, therefore it's private argument is valid, but I would say that to presume the opposite is also equally not valid.
Are you sure? Like, I don't think I agree. Like, it seems that people just kind of categorize things and then they become kind of shameful, if that makes sense. Like, they just say, this belongs in category B, therefore I am ashamed of this thing. Like, I also don't understand the concept of embarrassment, if that makes sense.
Right. So you don't understand how someone can have a thing that they do or a thing that they feel and not be comfortable with the fact that they like or feel that?
Yeah, like when I think back of that kid who was 16, 17 and ashamed of masturbating, I can't fathom how that person even exists, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't make any kind of rational sense to me. Like, I can't relate to it in any way.
Right. I mean, it's tough because I can't say that I've thought long and hard about the rationality of being ashamed of masturbation.
Well,
So
I don't mean that to be the category that we're referring to. I don't mean that to be the thing, you know? Like, it's just a prime example of the sort of thing that belongs in that set of things that people don't talk about with each other. You know what I mean?
don't necessarily talk about with each other. Yeah.
Right. Like you are a prime example of the most private person I know, not because of anything you do is somehow abnormal or anything like that. It's just you are a private person. But you wouldn't go to your friends and be like, "Hey, man, I had this X thing happen while I was masturbating." Like that wouldn't happen. You know what I mean? Like that,
Right.
that's just not a situation that exists, and that's what I'm trying to reference. Not a specific set of criterion. You know what I mean? Ugh.
I mean, but I don't know. I guess I can't find a way to talk in the abstract about quote unquote embarrassing things, because I think in a lot of ways individual feelings need to be addressed individually, because there are things like I feel like it's more just on face I would say it's more rational to be ashamed of having murderous feelings than it would be to have to be ashamed of having, lustful feelings, we'll say.
Right.
And so but yet both of those fit into the larger category of things people might be ashamed of, right?
Oh, this is way more complicated because, for a long time, even within the last 2 years, have had super internalized homophobic tendencies,
Mm-hmm.
And even though I clearly am part of the LGBT community for multiple reasons,
Mm-hmm.
I was not even comfortable coming out to myself. So would you say that this is the sort of thing that kind of borders on that it's so individualized that you can't say generalized concepts about it?
Yeah, you can't. There are many things that there's this whole large category of things that people treat as something to be ashamed of,
right?
In general. But I don't know that. I mean, I'm sure there are things you can say about the whole group, but I think when it comes down to it, ultimately you have to address them individually. At least if you're doing it from a position of looking to sort of hash them out and understand them.
Yeah, one thing though that I want to specify though, you said that there's these things that people. I want to make very explicit that I think people choose to feel shameful about things rather than those things being shameful. That's an incredibly important distinction that I don't think is made in the average person's day-to-day life.
Oh no, definitely not. I think
Okay.
I mean that's the thing. Shame, right, is this very human social construction.
Hmm.
It does not exist without a conscious mind making moral judgments about acts.
Right.
I mean, that's ultimately what it is. You look at a thing and say, "Ooh, well, I'm not proud that I feel ashamed that I have those thoughts or do these things because I think, or because I'm led to think, one way or the other, that morally there's something, or ethically there's something questionable about it."
Yeah.
Right? I mean, is it always ethical? I don't know.
No, I honestly, this is one of the very, very few points that actually diverge from Buddhism, and
Mm-hmm.
that I don't think that your thoughts have moral culpability. I truly believe that thoughts are morally neutral. You could think about raping and murdering the entire population, and that would be completely morally neutral, assuming that you did not act on those thoughts in any way.
So you put a hard line between thought and action, and that
Absolute.
it's not moral
Absolute.
until it becomes an action in the world.
Absolute. That being said, though, that your thoughts can influence the actions that you do. Assuming that we can make a hard line and separate those things, then they wouldn't. Then those things are completely separate. But if your thoughts influence your actions, then of course, that then becomes moral. Action is the only thing that is a morally judge-worthy thing.
Right, because up until it becomes an action, it has no bearing on what. Essentially, it in a sense has no real bearing on reality.
Yes, yes.
It exists because and I guess it's from a philosophical standpoint, I think it has to be that way. You kind of have to draw that line because it is like whatever connection thoughts and action have, the mere presence of the thought does not guarantee the eventual presence of the action.
Right. Let's take a pedophiliac, right? Like someone who wants to have sex with prepubescent children.
Pedophiliac?
Isn't that the right way to...
Isn't it just pedophile?
Yes, it is. Let's consider the pedophilia. No, that's...
Sorry, not to laugh at pedophilia, but...
No. I'm someone who has thoughts of pedophilia. Let's consider that person who never, ever, even once acts on it and has zero influence in that person's actions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That person, if we gave moral weight to their thoughts, could be considered saintly. That person who has strong desire to do these things, yet never infects their actions, could be an incredibly good person if we gave moral culpability to their thoughts, in comparison to the person who never ever had any kind of thought like that, but just kind of ran around and did whatever they wanted to.
Well, I mean, I would...
I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying this is a consequence of having thoughts have moral weight, is all I'm trying to say.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, I agree with the first part of that example, that the person who thinks of bad things but never does them is... I mean, I think you have to say a good person because they did... they did not do the bad thing, and so if they spent their life doing good things, even if they were thinking of doing bad things, what really matters is what they did. I mean,
and the stronger those thoughts are, the stronger the morally goodness is given to them.
But I do want to pick at the second part of that, where you did the flip side, where the person who just does without thinking.
Yeah.
I don't think that really exists, at least not in the at least not in the way that the person who thinks bad but does good exists. Because I think at a certain point you have to have the thoughts to do the actions.
But
unless the person is feral.
But some average individual could never have those pedophilia kind of concepts at all, and thus didn't do those actions, is not someone who could get the moral benefit of not doing that. They never had the thought in the first place, so why are they a better person than a person who had the thought and didn't do it?
Yeah, and I'm not saying they are, and I think that's...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I was just, I guess, because what you said, and maybe I'm probably just pulling it too small of points here, but you said, like, you contrasted the person who has the thoughts, who, like, essentially, a person who is 100% thought, 0% action, with someone who is 100% action and 0% thought.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
But that was where I was confused. Just that
totally.
second part. But yeah, that's whatever, it's trivial.
My bad. Nope. That's perfectly fair. I drew consideration. No, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's like there's. It reminds me of some joke by a stand-up comedian about like, oh, you see the guy who, like, who's on Oprah or whatever, who was an alcoholic and he beat his kids, but then he turned it all around and now he's a great guy. Like, he gets put up on a pedestal, whereas the guy who never did any of those things doesn't get the same recognition.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a twisted impulse that we have. But
yeah, that also bothers me.
Yeah, I mean, like, there is some. Because it's tough because you want to give at least some credit to the person who, against all odds or against strong, against who. You want to give credit to the person who was in a very disadvantageous situation, pulling through and becoming better out of it, because you want to encourage that behavior, right? Like, you want people to overcome bad impulses or bad situations. But then again, I mean, is that fair to the people who were in neutral situations who turned out good, or who were in good situations and maintained that goodness?
Yeah. It's really tricky, honestly. I think that, like, we can really fall into a poor pattern of praising those that are below the line for somehow making it to the line, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah.
It bothers me.
Mm-hmm. It's tough.
That being said, I pretty much depend on people's charitable, moral considerations to even have interactions. So I can't bitch too much.
Right, yeah. I mean, I think at a certain point we all, to a greater or lesser extent, depend on society to do, like. There was this little comic, a little web comic that I saw the other day, where it's like the great collapse of society has happened, and the people are combing through the ruins and saying, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to rebuild? And one guy steps up and says, well, you guys have good time rebuilding everything. I'm going to go over here and make snarky comments at you. Like, there's, there's like just sort of falling back into, like, what do the artists do? What do the comedians do to help rebuild society? Like, you have to get to a certain point before those sorts of things make sense, right? And so in a way, so many of us benefit from the sort of unseen structure of society to make our livings. Like, I mean, I'm trying to get a PhD and become an academic. Like these skills that I'm trying to cultivate, this job that I want to have is something that can only exist in a sufficiently advanced society, a sufficiently stable society. And so, like, I try as much as I can to, sort of give thanks and act in such a way that preserves that kind of society, not just out of the pure self-interest of it allows me to, the persistence of the society allows me to do the things I want to do with my life, but also because I believe in providing that opportunity for others to get the benefits of this thing that we've created over so many generations.
I have a question for you. I saw a video. You know who the Vlog brothers are, John and Hank Green. They have Crash Course.
Yep.
And on a Crash Course history video, John Green asks the question, is civilization such a good thing?
Right.
And I find myself very conflicted. Like, most people will talk about politics as like a 4-letter word, but I'm incredibly behind anything that keeps us from killing each other. You know what I mean? Like, anything that keeps us talking rather than beating each other's heads in is entirely my sort of deal.
Right.
But I honestly can't say, aside from that society is such a great thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, what I would say, first of all, is that when someone treats politics as a 4-letter word, or when I myself get so frustrated with political discourse that I just turn away from it, it's not because of anything inherent, I would say, in politics. It's the way that politics is practiced in the present moment. Mm-hmm. And so I would say that politics as a thing is neutral, but its particular execution today or in the present moment.
Right, but let's consider politics at its worst. Like, let's think about that kind of thing at its worst, though. Sorry to interrupt you for the millionth time. I'm sorry.
Right, you don't have to keep apologizing. It's okay.
I don't have to keep apologizing.
But that's the thing, is that politics can be very toxic and very disruptive and destructive. Mm-hmm. But it's not... I would argue that it's not inherent in politics to be that disruptive and destructive.
Right,
and so that
I agree.
The problem is not with the fact that we have politics, because at its basis, politics is just about a large group of people trying to get together and decide what the best course of action is. I mean, at a very elemental level. Mm-hmm. But it's just, as it's grown, it's come into systems and ways of working that cause problems. It's this particular mix of politics that we have now that is problematic. And so the idealist in me wants to say that if we can put effort towards fixing those problems, we can come up with something that is better than what we have now, and something that is worth defending and keeping. And I think the same is true of society or civilization, that the structures allow more people to do more things, to live better lives on the whole. Obviously, there are still massive issues in terms of providing, food and care and any kind of actual quality of life to a significant portion of the human population. But the idea that completely tearing down civilization is the thing we need to do to solve those problems just seems like insanity to me. It's like when people say that what we need to do is stop using high-yield, genetically modified crops that have allowed us to feed more people than any other time in history because of pseudoscientific concerns about and political concerns about the way that they're implemented, right? Because, it is a problem that for-profit massive corporations have these controls over the food supply in that regard. But that doesn't mean that the things they are using, like the technology they have, is inherently bad. Its use and function, the way it's being used is the problem.
Right. Like, we can see the problem with corn monoculture in Russia, yet that isn't a universal issue. Like, it's not...
Yeah, like, it is a problem when we rely on one strain of a particular crop. Like, biodiversity is important, but biodiversity is not at odds fundamentally with, the genetic modification and scientific advancement in crop science.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, really proper, well-orchestrated crop science takes into account those issues of biodiversity because they understand that those are problems.
Yeah.
It's
the ideal Taoist kind of concept of government is one that has an incredibly small government full of incredibly small laws, and it's mainly concerned with those who don't act within the kind of concept of Taoism. And I want to buy into that, but the people aren't Taoist, and so
right.
I need to buy into a huge concept of government, like a concept of super massive government. I failed to make my point entirely.
Right. Well, the super small scale becomes infeasible at a certain point, and eventually you have to deal with this notion of large scale organizing of people and government and all of that.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's what you were trying to say. I don't know.
Well, people, if people refuse to act within restraints, then the larger government becomes necessary. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did we get onto this topic, Ben?
Does it matter?
No, I'm just super curious.
Well, this is being recorded, so you can go back and find out.
Yeah, but that's not useful right now.
Well, yeah. But again, then I propose the question, does it matter?
No, I mean, it just seems real weird to me that we were talking about concepts of privacy, and now we're talking about the size of government and corn monoculture. I'm just super curious about how we got to this point.
Well, but that's the nature of conversation, right? Is that it does meander through different avenues, and you're talking about one topic, and then you end up with a specific example of that topic, and then suddenly that example launches into another possible option. I mean, as someone who has done some computer programming and finds that logical structure very interesting, it's like you kind of end up with this huge chain of if-then statements, and it's sort of getting further indented as you go down the conversation, because you're taking off all of these, you're going through these little branches, and maybe somewhere at the end of that, it all comes back and gets closed off, and you have a complete thing or maybe it doesn't and it kind of tails off. I mean, you know, it's and breaks. If you're talking about if you're going to take the programming metaphor really far, but I don't think it really fits beyond just a very base level
Word.
sort of shape of description. Word. Can I tell you a joke?
Yes.
If it's not going to be too disruptive. I just saw this today and I thought it was quite good. A friend of mine stole my copy of Microsoft Office, but I'll get him back. He has my word.
Oh no.
I didn't. No, that wasn't perfectly executed, but
no, you're not allowed to tell jokes anymore. You're done.
Wait. I think I have a better one.
Okay, go ahead.
3 guys walked into a bar. You think one of them would have ducked?
No, Ben. No. You're done.
What happens when the Pope dies?
No. What?
Another one popes up.
Oh.
Or sorry, another popes up. Damn it. Got that wrong. Okay, sorry.
Nothing you can do to repair that.
One last one, and then I'll stop.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
I know this guy who had a job circumcising elephants. The pay was lousy, but the tips were huge.
I've actually heard that one. You're done. You're done. No more jokes from Ben. No.
Sorry.
We need to pay that artist dude, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. No, I'm more talking to myself than anything else.
Well,
I don't know.
We can set up the payment thing today.
Yeah, we should do that.
Once we're done here.
What was the results of the Tottenham-Liverpool match? Oh no.
Oh, my friend.
Oh no. Tell me that Tottenham beat Liverpool 6-0.
Well, one team was shut out.
Oh no. Oh, it's horrible.
Liverpool 3, Tottenham 0.
What? That's terrible. It's terrible.
And no Balotelli didn't even score.
No top team should ever have a 3-0. Oh, fuck me. That's shameful. It's absolutely terrible, man.
I shouldn't be laughing, but
no, it's pretty hilarious. I would laugh too.
Oh,
it's
boy.
Terrible.
And another result in. Wow. Leicester City Arsenal. 1-1 full time.
Yeah, did you see Man U got 0-0 to a meaningless
Burnley.
Meaningless club 0-0. Fuck you, Man U. I mean, god damn. But seriously, Tottenham 3-0? That's terrible.
Sorry, 0-3.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, we're not coming out of that. That's what I meant. Oh. Who's in first position then now?
Let me pull it up here. I mean, whatever. It's 2-3 games into the season. It doesn't.
Yeah, but still, at
much,
least we're.
But let's see.
That just means it's not definitive. Is all that means.
But it means it doesn't mean much of anything. Okay, so yeah, with every team 3 games played, Chelsea and Swansea have the top spot, 9 points each.
Yeah.
Chelsea number 1, based off of goal differential 7-5.
God damn it.
Aston
where's
Villa
Tottenham
is
now?
third. Tottenham dropped down to sixth. But again,
Six. God damn it!
But again, dude, 3 games played. They've still got 6 points in 3 games. That's good.
Yeah, but they're 6 now. Oh, anyway,
It doesn't matter. They're 3 games. 3 games. It doesn't it doesn't matter what their position is after 3 games.
It still kind of hurts me, Ben. It hurts me. It hurts me in my heart places.
I mean, at least, well, yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, let's see, where's Man U? They're 14th.
Yes! Yes!
Which, for all of the things I'm saying about how it doesn't matter what the number is, seeing Man U in 14th is pretty good.
Yes!
Pretty
That makes
fun.
my pee hard. That's awesome!
And, oh yeah, and Burnley, by the way, is last, dead last. So,
oh no.
Man U could
Who's
not
the
get
last 3 right now?
18, 19, 20 are West Brom, Crystal Palace, and Burnley.
Oh no. Crystal Palace might get relegated.
Yeah, if the season ended after 3 games.
Oh, come on. It means something. It means something, Ben. Like,
It
at least...
means like the tiniest sliver of something, maybe.
Yeah, that's fair.
It doesn't. I mean, it's, you want your team to start well, but I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It means
It
basically
doesn't
nothing.
mean super a lot, but you kind of sometimes can get like a glimpse of what their like strategies.
Well, again, it matters in the fact that like you watch the games, you see how the teams are playing, and against the kinds of opponents they're playing, but position numbers don't mean very little.
Yeah. Yeah. Ben, I'm pretty drunk.
I thought so.
Have you been playing any games recently?
I did pick up Transistor because it was on sale on
Don't tell me any
PSN.
spoilers.
I will just say this: I played 10 minutes of it so far, but it had the opening of that game is the fucking best. It is the best cold open. It's just fantastic.
I'm super excited for that game, honestly.
Yeah, it's cool. The gameplay is kind of interesting. I'm still trying to figure out, again, very early on, but I'm still trying to kind of get a handle on how to, because the combat is real time, but you can also do a sort of turn-based thing, or not turn-based, but stop things and kind of set up a string of attacks. But things are going to be moving during that time, so you can't just. You can't set up the perfect combo necessarily because things will move, but you can kind of do some of that. I mean, it's a little weird, but it's interesting, and it looks really cool and well presented.
Right.
Hardly surprising from the team that did Bastion.
The makers of Bastion.
Yeah. Super giant
I picked
games.
up. I have not played, but I have picked up, and I have the hiccups. This is awful. I picked up. God damn it! God damn it! I picked up Year Walk.
Oh yeah.
Paper Sorcerer.
Oh.
Back to Bed and FTL.
FTL is fun.
I think FTL is going to be the clear head runner from those series. But if we were to...
I mean, yeah, because it's the game with the most replayability. I guess I don't know much about how Paper Sorcerer is structured. I saw a little bit of gameplay of that a while back, but...
Yeah, it's like old school RPG styles.
Yeah, like room-to-room, first-person kind of stuff, like tile-based movement or whatever.
I mean, if we were to bracket FTL, I think Year Walk is the one I'm going to enjoy most.
Year Walk looked really cool. I that originally came out on iOS, and I had it on my iPad, but I couldn't do it because every description of it was like, "Oh my god, it gets so scary," and I was like, "No." But I think you'll enjoy it from that perspective.
Right on.
Yeah.
Me and you are very different in that. I'm just like, yes, make it scary.
Yeah. I think, like, okay, I could handle scary if I had someone I could hold on to.
Word?
Right?
No, man.
But
like,
I am not going to put myself through that. I get no personal joy from that on my own. But
I'm not making fun of people who are like, especially you. I'm not making fun when I say, hey, this is super scary. Like, it's understandable when people are like, I'm scared of this thing that's supposed to be scary.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not making fun. Like, that's the point.
Damn you for having the expected reaction. Damn you. Yeah.
I gotta find this thing. This is Googling with Devin now.
Okay. Should I talk about more stuff? I also played this really cool game on PS4 called Counter Spy. It's it's a sort of, it's pretty much like a 2D side scroller stealth action game set in like the 1960s fictional, like in a fictional 1960s Cold War world, where instead of the United States and the USSR, it's the imperialist states and the socialist republic. And you are this from this third group called Counter, which is an acronym that, at least thus far, they haven't actually spelled out. But it's super cool. Like, it's steeped in this fantastic style, and it's a little tongue in cheek, and pokes some good fun, and it's also really fun to play. It's like randomized levels. You go through, and it's all, so you move essentially in a 2D plane, but you exist in a 3D world. So like, you'll come into a room, and there might be some guys like deeper back in the room, and you can like hide, you can like duck behind cover, and then when you can pop out of cover to shoot them, but now you're like shooting back, into the back of the room. Or if you're behind a different kind of cover pointed the other direction, you shoot further into the like along the room or something. Like, it's, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but if you can find YouTube videos of it. My favorite video game website, giantbomb.com, did a quick look of the game, and that they show it off as, and give a good sense of what it's like, and it's cool. Did you Google what you needed to Google?
I'm failing completely. I Googled something that's reasonable, and I'm sending it to you now.
Okay, I was gonna say, it's like, are you gonna send me a thing? Okay, let's see what this is.
Don't play it yet. I was going to send you something, and then I realized this kind of makes me a horrible person. Like,
oh, fuck you! I'm not watching this.
Don't watch it yet. Like, I'm just saying.
I'm not gonna watch it at all. Fuck you. I know where that's going. You can F right off.
So the other day, right? So I was like, hey, I'm gonna send Ben this thing,
right?
Because I want you to be so scared that you pee yourself. And I realized this is not what friends do. This is not.
Well, no, I think
this is your friends don't say to each other, "Hey, I want you to pee yourself out of fear." Like,
I mean, I think that is absolutely a thing that friends do. because I think this is something that came up again recently for me, and I think is interesting to think about. Is that when you are close to someone, when you can be totally cruel to them and they understand that it's all in good fun.
Oh, right on. Well, then watch the video.
No.
I want to hear your live reaction to the video, Ben.
No. Fuck you. Again, I say this as your friend. You bastard. I hate you.
This specifically is creepy for you. Like, knowing this is horrible for you. I totally understand.
I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, that's the thing too. If you try to send me something like that, like I grew up right on the internet when like I don't remember what the exact term was, but like screamers were a thing where like you would like someone would send you a link to like a flash video or something, and it would be like totally calm and peaceful, and all of a sudden just loud and scary, and like. And you know, and I've gotten used to like, you know, Rick rolls and that sort of thing. Like I don't click on a link. Well, okay, two things. I don't click on any links that have no context without being wary. And two, particularly now, and since I know you anyway, if you sent me something, I would. Like, it wouldn't take me long to register, even if you lied convincingly to get me to click on it. There's no way I would look at that thing you sent me and be like, oh, I wonder what this could be. And then just, you know, get all the way to the part where it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just send me the same thing again? What is this?
Totally different. You should watch that one.
Let's see.
This one kept me from turning off the lights for a while.
Okay, so no, I'm not gonna watch it.
You're not scared of this sort of thing. Watch it.
What do you mean? You lying sack of shit.
You're not scared of this sort of thing. We've had this conversation. You're not scared of this sort of thing.
I'm not scared of this sort of thing, and yet it made you keep the lights on.
Me and you are very different. I'm not scared of people breaking in my house, but you're scared of...
Yes, the hell I'm not. I have all sorts of weird stress responses to that shit.
You're scared of people breaking your house. I'm not. But I'm scared of something else, but you're not scared of that same thing. You should watch this video.
I don't believe you.
You should watch this video. I'm watching it right now.
I'm going to click on this link.
Yep. Oh, wait. Pause it, and I'll watch it with you right now. I'll turn off everything else, and we will watch this video together.
I'm not watching this.
Watch it. I'll watch it with you.
I'm not watching this.
I'm at 000.
A horror short film challenge. Yes. This is what I like to watch in my free time.
So you're at zeros, right? You're all zeros right now?
I'm not doing it.
Give me a countdown. Come on, 1, 2, 3, and then we'll watch it together.
Very, very good film that gave me the chills. How do you do the effect? Light out, figure going.
1, 2, 3, and then we'll watch this together. Come on. It can't be that bad. 1, 2, 3.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Yep, 1.
What? I said 1, 2, 3. I was already going.
Oh. No. Give an actual countdown, and then we'll play one at 3. At 3.
1, 2, 3.
So 000, 001, 002, 003.
Yeah, I got it.
Good.
Christ. Oh, right. No, I saw this.
You saw this already?
Someone did a GIF of this.
Oh, that's not the same thing.
Yeah, well, I have it muted because fuck you. But
No, you gotta have the sound on.
No!
Turn the sound on! Turn the sound on!
I'm not doing this. I'm done. I know I'm no fun. I'm terrible.
You're not even scared of this sort of thing.
Fuck you, I'm not.
You told me you weren't.
What? No, you're wrong. I am absolutely... We had this conversation, I think, the last time we talked.
Yeah, and you said you weren't scared of, like supernaturally sort of things.
But, no. I'm saying I don't believe in the supernatural. The supernatural does not actually exist. Mm-hmm. But terror, horror films still scare me. Even though they involve the supernatural and the clearly not real.
But why are you afraid if you don't believe those things are real?
Because what that is... Well, okay. I think there's two things. One, that general thing of you are, at home at night in your apartment, you go to turn off the lights and you see a silhouette, right? Like that. Like, that would scare me. I mean, my thought would not be, oh God, it's a ghost or a demon coming to kill me, but I would still be scared of it because I would presume it's an actual person there who might have intents to murder and or pillage me, or my things. Are you watching this video, Ben? No, I'm not. I told you.
No.
I told you I stopped watching it.
But I want to know what you think about this.
I'm telling you that I am scared of that stuff. Even if I don't think it's actually real. Even though I know it's not actually real. Because here's part 2, right? So yeah, I absolutely do not believe in the supernatural. It does not exist. It is just, fiction and fantasy. But it involves real human emotions, right?
Sorry, what?
And if I was to put I put myself in the moment of the story I'm reading or the movie or show I'm watching or video I'm watching, whatever, right? So it ultimately preys on real human fears and emotions, right? And even though I know it's a work of fiction, I can't help but react humanly to the things that are apparently happening. So my disbelief in the supernatural doesn't prevent me, doesn't allow me to just check out of stuff like that emotionally.
Okay, so here's the scenario. Me and you go to a movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
We go to a horror movie, and all the horror stuff is dealing with a supernatural thing.
Mm-hmm.
We see the movie, and then we're done hanging out, and you go home, and I go home.
Yeah.
I'm, in my lizard brain, freak out a little bit while being alone, but you're at home by yourself. What do you react to? Are you reacting to anything? Is this a thought? In your brain pan, are you doing anything?
I would be I would jump at small noises, theoretically, I would, but I wouldn't.
So you have the same thing going on, basically.
I'll still have the same baseline emotional fear reaction, but I'll know consciously that it's not a ghost, it's not a demon monster coming to kill me, because those things do not exist. But that does not stop me from feeling jumpy or, scared irrationally.
But, okay, so to bring up our previous conversations, why do you know those things aren't what's coming to scare you? What?
Why am I convinced that the supernatural does not exist?
Yeah, because the difference between me and you, I'm still convinced that those things don't exist, but I'm still scared of those things, and I'm not 100% convinced that those things exist. What's the difference between me and you?
Well, I think there might be less of a difference than you're making out there to be. I mean, I get scared from horror movies about the supernatural. A well-presented scary thing, even if I can consciously look at it and say with my front brain that that's not real, that doesn't stop me from being frightened. But I would say that as a specific example, if I'm laying in bed at night and I hear a knock on wood or something, something that some sort of noise that makes it sound like there's something out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll get startled by it, I'll get startled by the noise, but the thing that I then think caused it is not a ghost or a spirit or something supernatural. It's that was the thing that I fear in that moment then consciously is that it's like someone trying to break in, or
right, but why do you think that that's true? It doesn't make, but there needs to be more to it than just, I don't think these things exist.
Right, yeah. No, it's because, like, scientifically, we have no mechanism that is missing in our understanding of the world that leaves a space where things like demons or ghosts fill in the gaps. Like, there's nothing in our scientific understanding of the natural world that leaves a space where ghosts or spirits can fit in and provide the explanation that we're otherwise lacking.
Right. Let's stop right here. Whoa. Okay. Let's not define the thing that we're talking about that might exist. Let's say there's this thing. This set of things that could exist.
Right.
Without defining, without putting parameters in that thing. Okay, so
here's I think here's what it comes down to for me, right?
Well,
I have no compelling reason to believe that those things exist, and I have plenty of compelling I feel that I have plenty of reason to. I mean, not to say, well, okay. There is, to me, no compelling reason for those things to exist, because when you try to break down how those things could exist in the world as we understand it, it eventually becomes nonsense.
Okay.
So
fine.
yes, there is this theoretical possibility that I am wrong, and that these things do exist, and that we just can't and that we just don't happen to have the scientific knowledge that allows us to understand their existence. But that, to me, is not a compelling reason to believe that they exist. That is merely the standard sort of scientific openness to the possibility that.
Right.
Given proper evidence, yeah, I would be compelled to believe it. But that evidence does not exist, and I personally feel confident that evidence will not exist, given the nature of scientific progress and the present lack of any reason to believe that they do exist.
This is entirely my fault. I don't mean to describe this in the same sense that we're talking about, like, for example, God exists. My question is, without those definitions, without any definitions whatsoever, for example, there is a problem with what's the word? I can't remember the word. It's the opposite of rationalism. It's the empirical.
Right.
Me and there's a problem with empirical data for evidence for something. We know, for example, that if we form a snowball, put it on the other side of the apartment building, that we can't, assuming we can't see it through windows and blah, 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 blah. We can't see it. That we have no good scientific reason to believe that snowball exists because it's not observed right now. We know that via empiricism. That means that there's a fault in the way that we function as people in general, because we all generally function via empiricism. Isn't there then a disconnect between what we're fearing and what we understand to be within the realm of even possibility? I'm done now.
Okay, I don't understand what you're trying to say. So here's what I got from that is that there's part A is this question about the validity of empiricism as a means of understanding the nature of the world. Yep. I personally think that the fundamental thing that makes it work for me, that makes empiricism work, is that you can, through empirical collection of data and analysis, you can make predictions and then find out whether or not those predictions are true. And that throughout the history of scientific discoveries, that has worked and given us all manner of previously, heretofore unthinkable things. Like the very fact that we are doing what we are doing right now comes out of all of that. So whether or not at some deeper philosophical level empiricism has problems, for living in the world, it's done a remarkably good job for us. So I'm not those concerns do not, for me, dissuade my lack of belief in the supernatural. That's hold on. That's part A, right? Which is a whole separate conversation, which I think is not entirely necessary for, I think, this other point B that I think you're trying to get at more, or at least it seems like that's more the thrust of your argument here, is part B, which is this question of, like we talked about last week off air, so to speak.
Which is too bad.
This sort of progression mentally from our physical sensation leading into, well, of course, I guess this was my sort of understanding of how this works, but this essentially trying to understand how, like, what it is we fear when we say we feel fear. When you look into the darkened room and say, I am afraid of that, what are you really afraid of? And to me, in my conception of how that works, there's nothing necessary about the supernatural in that. While it could exist in that framework, I think given, going back to sort of the other part of this, it's empirically, given my understanding of the world and how it works, it makes no sense for me to believe in the supernatural in that instance. But I think this. But yeah, so we're just trying to focus the discussion on this second thrust about what we fear when we say, I fear that darkened room. Wait. Breaking down that.
I think that one major issue here that, okay, let's say me and you, right? Me and you, and I wish this was true. I wish we could go through this sort of thing, but we can't. Let's say me and you turn on the light to a basement, okay? Mm-hmm. We go down to the basement. We see there's no external entrances except the one that we just entered. Mm-hmm. There's nothing even in the basement.
Right.
And then we go up to the top of the stairs, and then we turn off the light. We look at the basement, and what is your reaction? Because, and this is the part that I object to what you're saying, is you have no empirical reason to believe that there's anyone down there, yet you're afraid. Why are you afraid?
Well, now,
I mean, I'm afraid, and I know exactly why I'm afraid, but why are you afraid then?
I would say and I don't want to try and argue the example, but in that case, I would not be afraid.
Really?
Because, we just, because of the parameters you gave, that would not make me afraid.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's quintessentially different than what I'm experiencing.
Okay. If, okay, here's the kind of situation that would frighten me in that sort of context. We're both there, we are standing at the top of the stairs. The basement is dark, we haven't been down there. We hear a noise from the basement. Something that could be believed, something that maybe sounds like, shuffling feet or a creak or a crack or something that makes it sound like there's something down there. That's when I would become afraid, or at least nervous. It's like, oh, what was that? And Like, but at that point, I'm reacting to the sound and what that sound could be, and to me, what that sound could be is something physical, something like a person, or maybe a rabid raccoon or something, like something that poses a physical threat to me. And then if we were to go down and turn on the lights and be able to look everywhere and see that, oh, there's actually nothing there, then I would no longer be afraid.
But what makes you scared watching a video that I send you?
It's because it's this emotional response to, like, it's this, I guess in a way to understand it is I kind of put myself there. Like, I was actually, okay, there was the other night I was up late and I was kind of bored, and it just so happened that there was a guy I knew who was streaming this horror game called Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
You heard about that? You seen that?
Oh, I've watched multiple playthroughs.
Okay.
Actually.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, the whole conceit, if anyone doesn't know, is you are, and it's kind of ridiculous, and there's a few weird plot holes in it, but essentially you are hired as this night watchman for this Chuck E. Cheese-esque place called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza or something, right? And so you had to sit in this security room, and, like, you don't actually move. You just sit there, and you have to watch the security cameras, and to make sure the automatons don't move around and break out and kill people or something. It's like some of the little details that help stitch it together a bit more, but it's still, like, ultimately you're trying to make sure that they don't, like, and you're in this room and you have these like heavy maglock doors that you have to shut in case they come by, or else they'll come in and kill you for some reason, right? So that game is like, I know that can't happen in real life. But that is a separate consideration from the, sudden appearance of a thing and the screechy loud noise that it makes, and the, like, within that fictional world, these terrible consequences exist. So I can so I can, within the context of that fictional world, yeah, that can be scary for me, and that is scary for me. And that sort of thing could lead to a nightmare that I might have, where within the context of the fictional world of that dream, these supernatural dangers are there and after me. And, oftentimes I try to wake up out of those dreams, because if I'm lucky, I recognize that it's a dream. But it's all about within that context. And so I can't, though I know consciously that, Michael Myers from, like, the Friday the 13th movies does not physically exist, watching one of those movies would still scare me, because I can't separate myself from the fictional context, at least not on command. Like, I watched, what was it? There was a few years ago, I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and myself and one other person watched, it was like that, it was this horror movie that Sam Raimi made after the Spider-Man movies. I forget what it was called, but it was about, like, this gypsy woman who puts a curse on somebody, because that's how that stuff works all the time. What?
It might be Thinner, but that's...
I don't know. I'd have to look.
That's too early. Never mind.
But anyway, the point is, it doesn't really matter what movie it was. But it's a horror movie, gory and bloody, and something that I wouldn't choose to watch on my own. But in the context of watching it with these two other people, and, keeping the lights on and all of that, like, I wasn't sucked into the fictional world mentally, and so it wasn't as scary. It wasn't really scary for me, right? So it's all about context.
No,
and how
look, we're not disagreeing that much, actually. Like, I know. Okay, I've been thinking of making my pantry into a completely dark room.
Right.
I know there's nothing in my pantry. I know that such things don't exist. Yet I'm scared of being in that darkness. That thing that's making me scared is what I'm interested in. It doesn't even necessarily need to happen before thought, but that thing that's making me scared, that's making it so you won't watch any video I send you on scary stuff, like, that's what I'm interested in. What makes me and you different in regards to that?
Well, I mean, I think we're starting from a place presuming there's a difference, and I don't
think necessarily there is.
Yeah.
I honestly think that you are just as scared as I am.
I mean, yeah, like, the only thing I'm trying to clarify in all of this is that I feel like you're trying to say that I'm scared of the supernatural, and I'm not. I'm scared of practical things. I think the supernatural has nothing to do with it. There is, like, that fear, that base, like, precognitive fear. That's just that indescribable sense of unease. Has nothing to do with anything supernatural.
Right, but this is the issue we ran into last time. I want to get away from the thing, the concept of the supernatural, for a number of reasons.
Then why do we keep coming back to it?
But the concept supernatural presupposes a level of laughability to it. Then
let's just drop it. Let's not involve the supernatural in it, because I think it's not there. It doesn't need to be there. Will you agree on that?
Yeah, but the thing in which I'm talking about would, if we're trying to classify things, would be lumped in with the supernatural, even though that doesn't necessarily need to be, because anything beyond our experiences are lumped in within the supernatural, if that makes sense.
But I don't think this qualifies by that definition.
When I'm put into a room that's perfectly dark or perfectly silent, I'm scared of something. And when we try to define that thing, we would define that thing as being supernatural.
I don't think so.
And then a bunch of things would be lumped in with that thing that doesn't make any sense to be lumped in with.
I don't think if I was put into that dark room, like if I am put into a room and I can't see what's in there, and then I am sealed in that room in perfect darkness and silence, I would absolutely be scared, but not of anything supernatural. It's that fear of the unknown, of not knowing what's around you, not being able to use your senses to properly assess your surroundings.
But if you're not scared of the supernatural, why are you scared? Why are you scared? What's there to be scared of, even?
Anything that could potentially exist in a room of that size and shape, for example.
But anything...
Or the fear of not being able to get back out, being sealed there forever.
But anything we're scared of in that situation is supernatural.
No, it's not.
Is what most people would be define. If we have reasonable
It's
knowledge, lowercase k, knowing what's in that room, in that sealed room. We know, lowercase k, that there is nothing scary there. So anything we are scared of would have to be then supernatural, wouldn't it?
No. Because, okay, again, and I think you just changed the example there. So, like, if I'm put into, so let's just define like a 10-foot by 10-foot room, right?
Yeah.
And if I am put in, it's pitch black in that room. There are no lights, and I am put into that room without being able to see what's in that room. And then the door is closed. The door is shut, and I can not see anything. I would, lacking any specific knowledge, I would be scared because, for at least some amount of time, because of that lack of knowledge. There are any number of physical, real things that could befall me to be afraid of in that space.
But there is.
However, okay, but there may not be. But if I'm not able to know that,
shit. Okay.
That's the thing. Whereas if I go into the room and there's a light that is controlled from the outside, so as I'm put into the room, the light's on, I can see everything. I can see it's just an empty 10 by 10 room, and then they shut the door and they turn the light off. Then I have nothing to be afraid of, outside of any other external stimuli that might give me reason to fear something. Like if I hear something that sounds like the door being opened, and then I might be afraid that something has entered the room that I can't see. And then I would be afraid of that possibility. But if I know there's nothing in the room, there's nothing for me to be afraid of. I would not be afraid. This is
what I'm trying to like restrain. I'm trying to say this is completely a matter of your own agency. No one's doing anything. This is completely you. You go into a darkened room, you close the door, and then tape up all the light spots.
Sure.
You say there's nothing for you to be afraid of.
If I have some knowledge of that, even lower knowledge, like whatever, we don't need to sort of get into that point. But if I have knowledge that there's nothing else in the room before I seal myself in, or and to me, I guess I don't. Well, whatever. I'm not going to address that. If I have knowledge that there is nothing in the room when I go in there and seal myself in, I will not be afraid of that.
Really?
But
holy shit!
Not saying I would like it, but if then once I'm in the room, I hear sounds that suggest maybe there is something in here or something is trying to get in, then I would be afraid, but I wouldn't just be sitting there afraid if I went into the space knowing there was nothing else in there.
So A, you would not be afraid of that space.
Given the way it's laid out, I would not be afraid of it.
And B, if you heard any external noises, it might frighten you, may or may not frighten you.
Yes, it may or may not frighten me.
I would fucking shit myself if I had that situation. If I had situation A, I would shit myself. I would be so terrified. I'd be crying for someone to help me. That is utterly fucking terrifying to me. Like, beyond anything else.
Why?
I don't know, and I want to understand that. That's the thing I want to understand between me and you. I don't understand the difference. It's not that I'm just scared of the dark and blah, 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 because I'm not actually scared of the dark. I'm scared of something, some concept inside that. Like,
do you think
that's the problem with fucking empiricism? Like, unless we can agree on that, I don't think we can get any farther.
What do you mean?
Like, there's a problem with empiricism that you don't know anything, capital K, know anything that you have not observed with your own senses. Like that's a problem with science, actually. If you don't observe something happening, you don't have capital K knowledge.
But then the larger question is capital K knowledge what we need in the world to do anything?
Yes.
Because that's where I would disagree. But we're getting away from the thing we're trying to discuss here.
Right.
Like, I was going to say this before, and I tried to stop myself because I just didn't want to go there. But, yeah, let's not worry about capital K, lower K knowledge, or, any sort of, that philosophical discussion, because it's as important as it might be in a larger sense. I don't think we need to go there to get at something here in the specific case. So, one thing that I'm curious about is, do you think at like a deeper psychological level, it might have something to do with isolation?
I don't. Maybe. Like, I've gone through some of the things that you've described as being that you're afraid of, as being physically vulnerable to a mundane thing. Right. I've gone through some of those things. Mm-hmm. And they're horrible. Don't get me wrong. They're absolutely terrible. I would never wish those on anyone, myself. And I would be scared of those things, but that's not the same sort of fear we're talking about. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a very different level, different concept of fear.
What I know last time one of the things that we ended on was this. I think it might come down to our sense of self, and where that lies. Because I know for you, I think we kind of reached a point where your sense of self is you have it, like the relationship between the sort of the soul in quotes, because trying to hammer down that is a whole other huge thing. But for lack of a better word, a soul or personhood, maybe, I don't know what term would be best for you.
I don't know, personhood maybe.
Let's just call it personhood. But let's put it in quotes, like just as a placeholder term.
Yeah, because me and you aren't going to disagree that much on that kind of thing.
Yeah, so and I think that whole discussion is separate from, like, we can reach conclusions without having to go through that. But
yeah.
So there's that sense of personhood, and that for you is separate from physical body, and that there is a bit of a gap that is bridged for the complete human being that is Devin or any other person. Is that a fair description of your position?
Yeah. Yes, even though intellectually I'm super skeptical of there being some kind of separation between the person and the body. Like, I'm super horribly skeptical of that, even though I do want to say there is a difference between Devin and Devin's body.
So, but yeah, you feel like there is the personhood contained within the body, and that they are two at least somewhat distinct entities.
Yeah, even though I'm super skeptical of that, yes.
Right,
yes.
But that is, okay. Because I think that is part of it, because I don't feel that, I don't feel that way. I believe it's all one component part. And so for me, harm to the physical body is the same as, harm to the inner personhood.
Oh, okay.
And so for me, I am scared of physical things, and also, I'm scared of, like, I would also be frightened of psychological pains. I believe, but I believe it's more interconnected than I think you at least intuit, even if you are very skeptical of it.
But what's making you afraid of things like videos that you know aren't real.
It's I mean that's psychological. That's again, it's in the right context. Like yeah, it's and okay. Like let's sort of to go back to earlier when we were trying to watch the video. Like I'm sure I could have watched it and not been terribly affected by it, but it's still an uncomfortable thing. It's like the equivalent of like going through like getting a vaccination maybe, or a shot, or getting blood drawn, right? Like there's this, you have to go through this thing that is uncomfortable and arguably painful, but even though you know that it's really not that bad in the larger sense, like just because I know I could like watch that video with you and not be like terribly scared by it, there's still a certain amount of discomfort I would feel because scary thing, creepy thought, putting myself in this fictional world. So even though I know I can say on the one hand, well, it's not that bad, that doesn't mean I necessarily want, I'm fully comfortable going through with it. I guess I don't know. The vaccination example is kind of very imperfect here, but
I'm sorry to interrupt. Could we take 1 second so I can go close my windows because there's a rainstorm coming through?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Just 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
I'm not fully convinced, and when I say that, I mean I don't want to convince you to be afraid more in your life. Don't don't get me wrong. but what I'm looking for is this thing that's differing us, making us different ontologically. Mm-hmm. Ontologically is what I'm interested in. Because, for example, I'm a Buddhist, right? Mm-hmm. But in 95% of the time, I don't believe in any of the metaphysics whatsoever. But what's making me interested is that just this moment of disconnect between what me and you experience. And that's super interesting to me. Just hugely interesting to me. And I don't fully get it.
Wait, what does that have to do with Buddhism?
The only point I brought up with Buddhism is that I don't believe in the supernatural.
Right.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, I'm just saying I don't believe in the supernatural 95% of the time.
Right.
Yeah. So virtually nothing.
Okay, I was trying to make sure I understood everything properly or correctly. So yeah, I'm trying to find sort of a way back to what we were kind of. Oh God, my neck. Talking about.
Dude, really? Like, have you been rubbing it at all? Like, what's?
No, I haven't.
Well, you should do that thing.
Yeah, but I gotta talk first.
You can talk and put your hand up, right? Like, you can chew and talk, and not chew and talk. Well, clearly you can't chew and talk at the same time. But I mean, like,
I guess it depends on how you define chew.
And walk.
But yeah,
chew and walk. There we go.
I think you could chew and talk at the well. I think at a certain point it becomes down to a certain definition of chew, and maybe even a certain definition of talk. But anyway,
when the part that hurts in your neck, can you push down on it and like move it left to right? Do you feel something moving in there when you do that?
Okay. Now the thing that should be understood here is that I am terrible at giving like back rubs because I am really bad at being able to feel the difference between like knotted stiff muscle and unknotted supple muscle or whatever.
Let's ignore all of that. Can you put your hands on the part that hurts?
Yeah.
And feel anything move under there?
No, I'm not feeling like nothing feels out of place or anything.
No. It's not about out of place because like,
then I don't understand what you're asking.
When your muscles are kind of tight, you might feel like just some movement under your skin. When you put your hands and kind of rub back and forth, you can feel something happening in there. Just anything happening in there. It's not just a gelatinous blob that, like, when you rub on your tummy, nothing happens.
See, and this is exactly why I was talking about what I was talking about, because I can't, like, I there is something moving, but I can't tell if that means, like, but I would feel that, like, on the other side of my neck, which doesn't hurt and isn't sore. So, like, I can't tell.
Well, if you're feeling it on your other side of your neck.
No, I'm not. So, okay. Like, yeah, if I touch a part of my body that is not sore, it, outside of the sensation of, sort of pain or, like, the sensitivity of the area, I'm not feeling anything different. But then again, in instances where I have tried to give significant others back rubs, I have also been unable to feel the difference between areas where they say, oh, yep, there's something there, and no, there's nothing there. Why are you doing that? So if you were to take your hand and just set it on your neck and squeeze, you can feel any difference in your hand? I think I'm feeling an area that is stiff on the side of my neck that is sore.
Okay, so you are feeling a difference. That's good.
I think. But it's hard to tell because there are also other sensations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So like it's hard for me to separate them.
That makes sense, actually. That's super. I actually for a long time tried to see if I understood if I had a fever through phenomenology, and I couldn't figure it out. It was completely and utterly impossible.
Ooh, hey, wait a second. Ooh. That's a good ooh, by the way.
Good. Are you rubbing it? Good.
Yeah, I'm rubbing one out.
I constantly have pain in my neck.
Did you just totally miss my crude masturbation joke?
Yes.
Okay. No, because the ooh was because I since you were like scolding me about it, I've been rubbing my neck, and I just like turned my head back into the right, like a thing that is hurt, and it hurt significantly less. So.
Well, good. Like I felt bad for you. Like.
Ow. Yeah, I think I found the spot right now that's really bad.
Just keep rubbing it because eventually you're going to feel a difference in your hand. Where you're rubbing it. Dude. I'm with you.
This is riveting content here. Oh, God damn it. Oh, that hurts. Okay.
I would rub your neck for you, maybe, if I was there, but...
Yeah, I
think it would make you super uncomfortable.
I don't know if it could be more uncomfortable than the neck pain that I've been having.
Ben, we need to talk for a second here.
So as opposed to like the last hour and a half?
Yeah, word.
Okay.
But I want to come visit you.
Yeah.
But I don't think you understand the difference between dusting and getting rid of dust.
Oh, you mean like when I was? Oh no, yeah, fuck no. I totally no. I knew what I was doing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was getting the dust off of my shit, and then I vacuumed really well.
But it doesn't actually get rid of the dust.
Oh no! It just gets it up in the air, so it's not on my shit, so I can get my shit out, and then it's not on my shit.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love you super much, but you need to like.
No, yeah, my shit
actually dust your shit.
My shit was dusty as hell. In fact, I need to get a new
good.
feather duster because I don't know what the hell happened to my last one, and then I need to get a vacuum for this place so I can
just wet a towel and wipe it on things before I come visit. That's all my point.
No, I know.
I was like, holy shit, I'm going to insult him, and this is going to be a terrible thing, and he's not going to believe me. But yeah, that's my entire thing.
No, I totally would have believed you.
Okay. I actually want to go ahead.
Oh no, that there wasn't really anything else after that.
I'm actually thinking that I want to put myself in my pantry and tape up all the spaces where light is. I know it sounds crazy, but I really want to, and see what happens.
Well, I do. If you don't do it anytime soon, and you come out to visit, I have 2 closets that I can close that you would fit in.
Ooh, I might do it then. Because then if I scream and cry like a little Devin, then
a little stereotypical girl, yeah.
No, hey, fuck you.
I said stereotypical.
No,
I said
little
stereotypical.
Devin. No.
Okay, fine.
If I scream and cry like a little Devin, then
like a little baby Devin.
Me. Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck me.
There we go.
I'm not ashamed.
And nor should you be.
If I scream and cry like a little Devin, then at least you can be like, hey, dude, you are perfectly fine. Everything is fine.
I'll just pound on the door a couple times and tell you to knock it off. Tough love, you know?
Right. I should not piss myself because Ben knocked on the door.
Yeah.
But no, but seriously, though, I think I might actually do that. Because I'm super curious about what the actual experience of being afraid of the dark is.
For example, well, sorry, I finished your thought.
No, I'm done.
Okay, well, because I was gonna say, I remember now that sometimes when I was a kid, I had this little closet in my room that it was it was a small walk-in closet, I don't know, a few feet square, 2 people could stand in there uncomfortably if you shut the door, and it varied in states of relative cleanliness, where there was either a bunch of stuffed animals all over the place or not. But there were times where I sat in there and closed the door and was fine. I kind of like the solitude and peace of it.
Yeah, when I was a little kid, right? You know about my family. I don't approve nor like any of my family.
Right, yeah.
Other than my dad.
And you successfully got out of the wedding, I want to mention.
Yes. I am so happy. So my grandmother wants Glenn, my dad, to take pictures for the wedding. And he's like, sure, whatever. And so I was like, hey, Dad, I do not want to go to this wedding unless I have a safe and absolute exit. If I'm just like, hey, I don't feel comfortable, we're leaving now, and then we leave. Mm-hmm. And he's like, that might get complicated. So I was like, nope, I'm not going to the wedding. Do. And so I'm super free out of that wedding. But your neck's so are you rubbing your neck?
Yeah, I'm
good.
Changing hands.
Yeah, word. But when I was a little kid, right, I was staying, I don't know why I was at this place. I'm not even fully sure it was at my Uncle Dennis's. Mm-hmm. But I was being watched by my Uncle Dennis, and Uncle Dennis is the only person that I even like, sans, like, if you, other than my dad, right?
Mhm.
Like, he was an awesome guy who wanted, like, when I said I wanted to be Muslim, he drove over an hour and a half just to give me some information so that my opinion was more well-rounded.
Wow.
Other than, so I mean, he was Christian, he was super Christian, and that's fine. But he wanted me to have more of a well-rounded opinion than just being pro-Muslim.
Right.
But I mean, he was a great guy. In any case, he died. But I was at his place, someplace with him, and I was super scared of all of the shadows on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was in an unfamiliar place and I wasn't sure of anything, and so I was super scared. And he came out and checked on me, and that's one of the most earliest memories I have in my entire life.
Mm.
And I forgot why I'm even bringing this up. There was something
Well,
poignant.
maybe that has some sort of psychological connection to your discomfort in small dark areas or dark enclosures.
Yeah, that might be. I forgot why I brought that up. In any case, you're absolutely right, though, that has some weight in that word.
Yeah, and I would bet too that what it's actually. I mean, I don't know what if this says anything about me, but I want to say that I think one of the earliest memories I have, like that, was I was at this indoor playground. And I went to get a drink of water from the water fountain, and it was one of those that had like the push bar at the bottom, and I pushed on it. Like,
yeah.
So it's got like the bar that says push, like plastic, and you push in on it to get the water to come out. And so I using like the top tips of my fingers on both hands, I pushed in on it, and the bar went into the frame, and my fingers got caught between the metal frame and the plastic bar, and it hurt a lot. And that's like one of my earliest memories, is that pain of getting my hand caught in a drinking fountain.
What's your absolute earliest memory?
Well, the thing is, I don't know how old I was at that time. So
of the bar,
yeah, of the drinking fountain incident. So this might have happened. So I have no sense of when that happened.
Right, but if you had to guess, what's your absolute earliest?
I do have memories of the trip to England that my parents brought my brother and I on when my dad was working. And I want to say I was like I was old enough to walk, but I couldn't have been more than like 2 or 3. I believe is what my parents told me. I was like 2, maybe 3. And so I have some memories from that. So that has to be it.
My earliest memory is actually of my parents fighting. My parents were separated divorced when I was 7, but separated earlier than that.
Mm-hmm.
And we were living in Rice in this house. And I remember running out of the house but not having any place to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I just stopped at these steps that were going to like a second story entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my earliest memory.
You have any idea how old you were at that time?
I think I was like 5. Because they were separated by the time I was 7.
Right.
So I think 5. But that's kind of telling, actually. Like, if we were to pseudo-scientifically just combine all of these conversations, like, I would be scared of the unknown and not having a safe place because of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I'm not a therapist, not anything.
Yeah, this is like super amateur level
this is just
psychoanalysis.
trying to combine everything.
Yeah.
I would be scared of the unknown because of that, and because there was no certainty. I mean, I didn't have any kind of certainty in my life, household-wise, until I was 12, 13, until I hit puberty. Yeah, I had zero kind of certainty in that respect.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was consistently moved around from my mom, right? So my dad and my mom separated, and my mom went out to California with I don't know, what's the relation that your mom gave birth to a kid but it wasn't from your dad?
Step brother or sister.
That's not right. That's as if your mother married into a family.
Oh no, half brother or sister.
Okay, yeah. I have 3 half brothers. One died. One went to foster parents, and my mom actually went out to the father of the half brother who was oldest, and things went way wrong. And she came back, and yeah, she didn't have a place, and that's when we were still in Rice. When I was in an apartment, we were in an apartment building.
Okay.
When my dad stopped me from going and beating up a neighborhood kid with a baseball bat, which is not as bad as it sounds. I swear to Christ.
Well, little kids don't have a sense of scale.
Well, no, one little kid, right? So I'm bigger than everybody.
Right.
Like you're like only 2 inches shorter than I am.
Yeah.
So you're still a big guy. But when I was young, I hit my growth spurts really early. So by the time I hit puberty, I was already 6'2".
Jeez.
Yeah. So in kindergarten, I was actually taller than my teacher. And so I'm big.
Yeah.
And that's going to make you a target all on its own. You know what I mean? And this kid had gotten their father's nightstick, the the kind of L shape, the old side one. I don't know if they're still the same way anymore, but
right, yeah.
Threatened me with it, and I'm like, well, fuck you. I'm gonna go home and get my dad's bat. So I went and got Glenn's aluminum bat, and I had my hand on the door, and I opened the door, and then Glenn, my dad, grabbed the bat and took it out of my hands. It was like, oh, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
And I learned one of my very first lessons about bullying at that point. But I was totally ready in little kid militant style to go and beat the fucking shit out of neighborhood kids.
All emotion, piss and vinegar, etc.
Yeah. I'm not proud of that. It's just hilarious. But
yeah, I know what you mean. The conviction of little children.
Yeah, dude, little kids
all
are
scary.
Or nothing. Word.
Yeah, little kids can be vicious. Well, we've hit 2 hours now.
Yeah, man. Whatever you need to do, I don't care.
Well, I want to try and see if I can go out and get some kind of massaging tool, something to help me, even if it's just a rubberized, rubber-ended cane or something to dig into my back.
Dude, 800 milligrams of ibuprofen, I'm telling you.
Well, that's just going to, that's not going to solve the pain. It's just going to...
Actually, it will, honestly. Because when you have a muscle spasm, what's actually happening is that your muscle is inflamed and it's impinging on nerves, which then cause further issue.
Well, I mean, I don't know
body.
exactly what it is. I don't know if it's a muscle spasm. Like, it's just, I don't know. But anyway, point is...
Take the ibuprofen.
I took ibuprofen 2 hours ago, so...
Alright. Well, whatever works for you.
But the massaging has helped some, but I want to see if I can get something that will allow me to do more, because, my hands get tired and it's a bit of an awkward position to try and get at, like, on my shoulder and stuff, so...
Right. So, next week we'll do this again then?
Yeah, or something like it.
Right, something at least better, at least equal to or better than the quality that it's been.
Well, I think that's the goal every week, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.